My name is Hanczaryk. I'm a PGA Teaching Professional. I learned to play golf in Maryland, the state of Maryland, which was nice. It was kind of warm, mostly year-round. So I got to play a lot of golf, and I did. I played a lot of golf. And I got to a good level, a fine quality level of play. I was drafted by the University of Maryland, and so I got a scholarship to a very fine school for golf. 3 players on my team made it to the PGA Tour, so the level of competition was very high, and I held my own. You know, I played along with these guys until it came time when I really wanted to play well, tournament time, or you know, when you had that one critical shot in a round that you had to hit. I didn't seem to hit it, and these guys did. And so I wasn't quite, like, I had the ball striking ability, I could hit all the shots, but I didn't come through when I needed to. And so I started wondering what's going on. Of course I went right to my swing. What's wrong with my golf swing? And I think you all know that that's a rabbit hole that you can't get out of sometimes. You start tinkering with this and that and this. Eventually I figured out it wasn't my golf swing, it was my mind, and I was getting in my own way. So I started searching, like, what is this thing in my coconut? What does it do, and how does it work, and how can it help facilitate my golf swing? And so eventually I discovered mindfulness and the practice of mindfulness, and almost immediately I started playing better, and I was able to let go of negativity, and I was able to focus better, and you know, not be worried about bad shots and so on. At the time, it definitely wasn't mainstream, practice of mindfulness. So I sort of didn't tell anybody, I just did it. By then, that was much later, so my skills were fading a little bit, but I was playing just as well because I was smarter and playing better, you know, mentally better. So, and then neuroscience started to research mindfulness. And with all these amazing machines, MRIs and all those things, started to absolutely prove that which we will talk about what is mindfulness a little later, that it works, and it helps you focus and helps you let go of negativity, and you know, to quickly come back to the moment. And so you know, so that's what this is about today. It's the ancient practice of mindfulness, which actually Jason Day does, Tiger Woods, Justin Rose, you know, like you could, Derek Jeter, I could go right on and on. The whole Seattle Seahawks, you know, the whole football team, when they won the Super Bowl. So it's now mainstream, but it's not quite broken through to, you know, like Donald Trump on TV all the time. So we've got the ancient and the absolute cutting edge, and Rob is right on top of that. So I'm going to pass it over to you, and look forward to a nice day.
Great, thank you. Yeah, super excited. I've been thinking about this day for several months now. And to be able to combine what I do on the day-to-day as a cancer physician and empowering people with my great passion, which is golf as well, is really very exciting. So thanks for being here. First of all, to honor each of you for coming here. I've been researching, and it's pretty obvious that the professionals, the golfers, are saying that probably the mental game is the most effective way you can actually improve the quality of your game and really your enjoyment as well. So I'm really hoping you'll take away that feeling today, that I can really change my perspective on golf and really be happier and play better. And so thank you for being here, first of all. I want to tell you just a bit more about myself. So I'm an oncologist. It's kind of my day job, which I actually do really enjoy that role. But my passion is actually running support groups. And so for over 20 years, I've been giving public talks, running weekend seminars with people affected by cancer. And essentially, I've been really interested in the mind-body connection all of those years. You know, how can people actually make a difference in their lives by their attitudes, their beliefs, and their behaviors. And so for 20 years ago, there wasn't a lot of science, and now it's really exciting that we have neuroscience to prove that the techniques that people affected by cancer can actually help themselves. But also, as I'm preparing the seminar, it's like, light bulb after light bulb coming off, saying, geez, you can really apply these same principles to the golf game. And so that's what I want to offer you today, and that's why I'm really excited about this. And we're going to have fun together. It's going to be participatory, lots of back and forth, and by the end of the day, I hope you take away something that can really help you in some way or form. I just want to touch base on the agenda for the day. You can't really read it here.
I'll get that.
We'll talk about the science of golf and the neuroscience there. And the fact that what I'm actually really excited about is the upside of stress. You think about stress as a bad thing that kind of gives us a jitter and so on, but I actually want to have you think about the fact that we can harness the energy of the stress response to actually make you perform better. And so I've read a book recently that really has made a difference in terms of how I look about the stress response. So that's cutting edge. We'll have very practical things. We'll learn about visualization, the pre-shot routine. And then another one that's, I think, very important in terms of a life skill is this ability to reframe. We have this kind of voice that says things to ourselves like, I'm an idiot, or I always choke, or those type of things. You can actually reframe those thoughts so that you can continue to play well through your round. And we'll talk about blocks and being in the zone and so on. So the last thing I want to just talk about is just my experience of playing golf. So kind of a cerebral during the day, sterile environment. When I get out on the course, it's like a whole new experience. So I'm a member at Ashburn. When I get out into the kind of the woods and so on, and suddenly I'm a different person in a different space, and I can feel my feet on the ground, and I'm starting to look at the sky and the trees, and I feel this kind of energy of the course. And it's as if like the personality is kind of no longer there, and I'm kind of in an expanded space or consciousness. And it also, I talk about body, mind, and spirit. And to me, it actually starts to capture that kind of level of consciousness or spirit that really kind of starts to tap into this feeling of being in the zone. And so today I want to give you very practical advice, practical and pragmatic as to how you can empower your brain, but we're also kind of touching the fact that there's a bigger perspective here. There's a bigger kind of awareness. So that's my hope for the day, and it's just been a real pleasure to be able to learn from Ed and create this seminar. So thanks again for being here. Okay, so I think I'm just going to power forward with this, is that your brain is malleable. Your brain changes with time. In whatever state of mind you hold yourself in, your brain will get better at that state of mind. So the point is, and no matter what age of life you're at, your brain will continue to grow or change. So right up to your last day of breathing on this world, your brain continues to adapt. So it's not just little kids whose brains are changing, we all are changing all the time. And one of the major teachings here is that therefore we can decide how we're going to experience our day. We can decide how we're going to experience our round of golf, or how we're going to experience our practice session, or our teaching, or whatever you're going into. And so I actually want to just do a couple minutes of a little meditation sequence to start out with you right now, and together we'll kind of set an intention for the day. And I'll take you through the various elements. Partly it's just pure mindfulness, partly it's just a visualization, and then I'll ultimately ask you in your mind, what do you want to accomplish today? So that's the exercise right now. So join and participate in the seminar in a way that feels comfortable for you. You don't have to agree with anything that Ed and I say, but we want to just have you participate and enjoy in the way that you really appreciate. So first of all, you can set your things down, set your sides, going to come back into your body. Bring yourself off the back of the chair so you're not leaning backwards. So you can move your bum up a little bit. Feet are flat on the ground. Put your hands on your knees. And then lean forward, and then just give it a little arch in the spine and come back up to that balance point, where there's not much muscle being used to hold yourself in place. And you have that feeling that the head is being drawn towards the sky. Your eyes can be down or closed if you want to. And bring your attention now to your body. Just be very curious. What are the sensations? You might even notice a sense of energy within your body. Bring your attention to your feet on the floor. That sense of being grounded. And the weight of the hands on the knees. And the weight of the body in the chair. Bring your attention now to your backbone. Just that feeling of being solid. The physicality, the strength of your backbone. And bring your attention now to the front of your chest. Just imagine a sense of warmth at the front of the chest, or a sense of openness, maybe a sense of rawness. So that's our humanness, strong spine and open heart. And bring your attention to your breathing. Again, you don't have to label it or change it, just be very curious. What does it feel like to breathe? Now we'll do a visualization. So we create a sensation through visualization. So on the next in-breath, imagine you're breathing in a sense of calm and peace. And on the out-breath, simply relax and let go. So in-breath is that sense of peace and calm, right into the middle of your chest, and relaxation. On the out-breath, just release. Relax. And imagine that your heart is warming up as you're breathing in that sense of calm and peace. Imagine that the center of your chest is starting to feel that sense of compassion, that sense of caring. And now just bring to mind someone that you really love. You know, it could be a parent or a grandparent, it could be a child, your pet. Maybe a different time in your life, and allow yourself just to feel that sense of caring, sense of compassion for that person, for the pet. Now, from that kind of sense of compassion for yourself and that sense of relaxation, set an intention for yourself for this seminar. What is it that you want to learn? What are the insights? What's the knowledge? How is it that you want to be? Do you want to be in that kind of positive, enjoying, peaceful state, receptive and open? And then set an intention for yourself as you're going forward playing golf into the future. So just imagine you get out there, maybe your first round of the year, maybe your 15th round of the year. Imagine yourself out in the course and just really enjoying golf. How do you want to be? What are the qualities that you would really like to experience while you're out in the course? Nice. Now just release that sense of visualization. Simply come back to the sense of being in your body, connected with the floor. On the next breath, allow your mind to expand into space here on the out breath. And realize that your good human heart connects to both. Earth below, the skies above. Thank you very much. So you can come back and just relax. I do want to acknowledge Dr. Michael Lardon. I think I have his book here, Mental Game of Golf. So I read that. It really made a lot of sense. I took this off the internet. So I'm going to talk about a pre-shot pyramid, not to say that this is the best or the only one or what's right for you, but I just want to kind of describe to you, because you use different parts of your brain during the different phases of actually shooting your shot. And so there's the phase of calculating the shot. I'll describe, a shot or a hole that I have. I think it's the 13th or 14th. 13th of Ashburn, New Ashburn. So essentially, if I've got a good drive, I have about 100 yards in, and so I actually have to calculate my next shot. And I'm thinking about a whole bunch of things. I'm not a great golfer, and so therefore I have to really think about everything. I just don't do it. So I'm thinking about I got a slightly downward lie. My lie of the ball is maybe a little bit tighter, maybe it's fluffed up a bit, and about 100 yards out, and there's the pin's just over the bunker, but it's a really pretty steep green, so I have to probably land more middle and not get too aggressive on the pin. So I'm doing all these things. The wind's blowing from the right side, so I'm probably going to aim just at the pin. It's 100 yards out, but I have to hit about a 90-yard shot because it's downward lie. So you can see I'm thinking quite clearly about what I need to do, what's my line, how hard I have to swing, what club I'm going to use. So this is a different part of the brain that does the calculation of the shot. And then for me, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, the creating the shot, I'm creating a feel not just in my mind, but actually during my pre-shot routine, I'm swinging at what I think is a 90% swing and trying to swing beautifully. So I'm creating the shot feeling and visualization in my mind, which is a slightly different part of the brain. And lastly, when I'm about to hit the ball, for me, I'm lucky that basically my thoughts turn off at that point in time, and I simply swing. And that's a different part of the brain, again, using kind of a subconscious motor unit. So just to say, to deliver that one shot over the minute that it takes, kind of start to finish, for me, is 3 parts of the brain. Okay. So golf-specific brain function. We are humans. We work with this thing called the brain. How do you maximize the function of your brain? Is really the next part of this. So the frontal lobe, or neocortex, is responsible for creativity, high-level thinking. So that's the calculation. Thinking versus motor function. The example is, I'm walking along. My foot hits a little lip, and I'm about to trip. If I think, I'm tripping, I've got to lift my foot a little bit more, I've got to lean back a bit more, I've got to put my foot down and stop myself thinking, I'd be on the ground if I relied on my thinking. When in fact, that all happens at a subconscious level. The motor functions happen way faster than I could ever adjust. Right? So there's a motor function that is subconscious. And trying to think during a fall or trying to think during your golf swing actually will inhibit the motor function. And then there's this issue of kind of right brain versus left brain. So left brain essentially is a more calculating, conscious part of it. The right brain is more feeling, images, feeling around that. And that there's a premotor cortex that starts the execution, but then the motor cortex takes over at a kind of deeper level. And then lastly, we're going to talk about this kind of an emotional system within the brain. And our emotions, through the chemicals, through the pathways, actually influence the motor function there. So when we're overly stressed, we're not going to be able to deliver as much. So those are some of the functions within the brain itself. And I show you this diagram. So front of brain, back of brain, lower part of brain. That the frontal brain can think. It can send a little bit of information to the premotor cortex, but the swing is actually happening at a very deep level there. You can't really control that in real time. You can control a little bit at the frontal part of it. Now, lastly, I'm very pragmatic. I'm always thinking, well, what can you really just do to maximize your function and play better golf? That's what I want you to walk away with. And so how do we keep our brains functioning? How do we keep that level of concentration and attention throughout the 4 or 5 hour round? First of all, and I think you could probably take this one point away from all of today and you would play better golf. And that is to be able to relax between shots, and then once you're starting your pre-shot routine, then you really focus, you really pay attention. right? And practicing this can actually make a huge difference.
Rob, could I add something to that? I think recent studies have shown that daydreaming, just spacing out, is actually a pretty good thing if it's done at the right time. So not while you're hitting the ball or in your pre-shot routine, but in between shots, you sort of figure things out somehow when you're just kind of spaced out a little bit. It's dropped me for a loop when I heard that, right?
Actually, I believe that because I think about, because what I'm describing is very intense thinking, right? Very focused thinking. And I think about the neurocircuits, and the neurocircuits kind of getting drained of their neurochemicals. As soon as you go into the daydream mode, you're allowing that part of your brain to kind of refresh itself, regenerate, because you're using the daydreaming function or the, isn't this beautiful day function here, and then this gets stronger between shots. So to be able to rest and relax your brain is key, turning on, turning off. Okay, so the frontal lobe, and I would argue, my experience is I'm at that level where I'm still making mental errors by not kind of thinking my way through the shot. And it's partly because I get tired near the end of my round. And so I often can make poor decisions because I'm mentally tired. Right? So then really we're going to talk about, well, how do you keep your brain in that phase of being, working best? So in the frontal lobe, even as you're in that kind of feeling kind of pre-shot routine, your frontal lobe can say, things aren't kind of doing right. Or somebody, someone takes a picture of Tiger just when he's about to backswing. His frontal lobe takes over and he says, stop. Let's do it again, right? So again, frontal lobe is able to kind of restart if there's a problem. And you want to turn the frontal lobe off during execution. We'll talk about that shortly. So now I want you to ask from a very practical perspective. You're going to have an important game of golf tomorrow. What are some of the things you can do today or tonight or within your life generally that's going to really help your frontal lobe do its job? Or alternatively, what are the things you could do today or tonight that would really make your game worse because your frontal lobe isn't working tomorrow? Yeah. Right, so there's kind of the psychological, but I'm going to go very practical.
Write down.
Right, so you're visualizing. I go right back to being a human being, being an animal. How does an animal
get a good sleep?
Right, so I want to get into kind of the healthy habits, because if you're not sleeping tonight, it's really hard to concentrate tomorrow. And then that's what I'm going to work on right now.
Eating properly.
Right, eating properly. And I'm going to go into each of these. And there's one more that's probably the most important one in terms of your ability to perform as an athlete.
Making sure you move regularly.
Move and how so. So this is it. Sleep. Sleep is number one, actually. So anyways. So sleep. So sleeping, what are some of the things you can do to promote a good night's sleep? So now we're going to talk about sleep hygiene. Do you know what? It's true. That was one of my kind of key points, is a 10 to 15 minute nap. Oops, is it there? Yeah. Actually improves motor function after you take the nap. It improves the quality of sleep at night, and you wake up more rested the next morning. So napping is actually very powerful. But let's, again, other ideas around sleep hygiene.
Have a routine.
Routines, you're getting bed at the same time, you're getting more dark at night. Stay in the dark at nighttime. 90 seconds of bright light will inhibit melatonin and other healthy chemicals, so you want to stay in the dark at nighttime. Stay away from the stimulants, right? Don't exercise or watch screen time or those type of things just before sleeping. So I can't cover everything within sleep hygiene, but you can learn about sleep and sleep hygiene. Number 2 healthy habit to keep your brain going is actually exercise, which is moving. And unfortunately, golf, unless you're jogging between shots, probably is not intense enough. You need something else outside of walking, unless you're power walking. How much exercise do you need? How many minutes per day?
6:30.
It's 30 minutes, probably 6 days a week type thing, to a degree of a sweat or slightly shorter breath. Right? And that actually, by exercising, a couple things I read recently, there's a part of the brain called the hippocampus that is responsible for memory. And so if you're learning muscle memory around a swing, you're actually growing new cells. And it's the number one way of actually growing those cells is actually to exercise along with practicing that thing. Brain-derived growth factor, the pathways get stronger if you exercise. So exercise in addition to your golf is actually extremely important. It releases the happy hormones, you have more energy, better quality of sleep. I really can't say enough about the power of exercise. Okay, so we have sleep, we have exercise. I heard diet was probably the number 3 thing. Tell me about diet. What's a healthy diet? What are some of the components of a healthy diet?
Vegetables, fruit.
Fruits and vegetables, right?
Yeah.
Probably through a diet you don't need any extra vitamins other than vitamin D, and if you're outside doing things you probably don't need it. Probably some, the other one is, that I've seen recently is this idea of the blood sugars varying, right? And so that kind of fine and processed sugars actually cause spikes. And 2 or 3 hours later, you might notice that your blood sugar goes down and you can't think clearly. It happens on the golf course as well. So you need a little bit of protein in your meal prior to your golf game so the sugar levels stay higher. And then you want to kind of supplement on the course as well. I see for instance, the tour professionals are eating walnuts, for instance. So there are ways to kind of maintain that. You can figure out what works for your body.
So no Coke and hot dog at the turn?
No, yeah. There's so much sugar there. You might get a little buzz in number 1 tee, but by number 5 or 6, you really, your body, the brain can't function. The frontal lobe needs a lot of sugar, actually, and when your sugar levels go low, the frontal lobe shuts down. It's really how it goes, and then you're working off your primitive brain when you get that bottoming out. The last one is actually practicing meditation, practicing the relaxation technique. When you do that, you're actually thickening the frontal lobe, and the frontal lobe actually inhibits the fear response. The frontal lobe also is part of that creation thought. So you literally, by practicing attention through the breath, allows you to practice attention during your golf game. Okay. I think about mind-body, but there's also body-mind. And the idea is that the nervous system is connected with your gut. Millions of neurons there that connect to your brain. And so you want to be able to relax your mind. You want to be able to practice relaxation if you're an insomniac. And the last thing I'm going to do is going to show you the power pose. So everybody can stand up for a second. And we'll so just for right now, I want you to put your feet shoulder width apart, your hands on your hips. And I'm going to talk, and you guys are going to maintain the power position right now for the minute it's going to take, 1 to 2 minutes. The data shows that when you assume this position, you will feel more confident and more peaceful. You need to do it for a minute or 2. I've seen it in the corporate world where they're teaching people to stand in this position for a minute or 2 prior to going into a job interview, for instance, or prior to giving an important presentation. And our bodies, we're physical bodies where the body is saying, oh, I'm feeling strong, I'm feeling powerful, I'm on the alpha in this group right now. So by practicing this, and imagining that you're doing this and holding this just prior to your first tee off, or your first tee shot, and that actually is going to change your physiology, and it's actually going to put you in a better frame of mind so you'll perform better. So I'm just realizing that you can do this. I'm going to see a whole bunch of people out there on tee number 1, went to Ed's golf seminar, and they're going to be happier and play better. You can have a sit again. Thank you. So remember that. As you're watching your buddies, just as they're teeing off, you're getting ready to tee off, you can just do this and just feel more confident, feel solid into your body. Okay, and I just show you that by practicing the meditation, you actually create a thickness. So basically, it's a study that shows that 30, 40, 50 years later, people who practice meditation maintain the thickness within their cerebral cortex and their frontal lobe, whereas those who don't, they get the natural age-related thinning of that part of their brain. Your choice. No matter what age you are, you can continue to set down those neurons. And lastly, it's this idea that you can reverse engineer now. By deciding the states of mind you want to maintain, your brain will grow towards that particular direction. So if you have a stroke, you lose some brain and you lose some kind of mental function in that area of the body. But it goes the other way around. So it's not just physical to kind of psychological, it's psychological. When you have those thoughts or feelings, you're actually changing the machinery within the brain, including if you don't use it, you lose it. So you're losing out on those other pathways. You're creating new experiences. The takeaway is that you can direct this change. It's called self-directed neuroplasticity. And I'm going to take you through this last exercise in which we're going to think about how the brain works and how you can kind of garner those states of mind. So growing inner strengths. The idea is, if it's a state of mind, you can think about what you want to manifest. Confidence, peace, joy, gratitude, whatever it is that you want to manifest in the course or in life. If you have those states of mind, eventually they'll turn into traits of character. Right? But in order to do that, you actually have to have the experience, and that experience has to get translated into brain structure, into actually changing the shape and connections within the brain. It's called installation of that. So we grow that by having those experiences, either by visualizing or actually having the experience itself. So I want you to think about, from this very long list, what you want to manifest more in your life, or what you want to manifest more within your golf game. So it's a very long list here, and it could be attitudes, could be kind of a feeling, could be even emotional character. So check something from this list. Think about maybe confidence. Think about focus or concentration. Think about what you want to achieve. Okay, so from that list, we're going to take you through an exercise. But before that, I just want to explain the inner strengths are made up of structures. So green are the positive traits, the red are the negative traits within the brain. The problem is, from an evolutionary perspective, our brains learn and remember and change more from negative experiences than from positive experiences. And just from a survival perspective, you want to make a mistake that way. So you get more processing, and preferentially your brain gets kind of stuck into the negative pathways much faster. So when you're angry and upset in the golf course, that really sticks to your brain much more than if you have a positive experience. So it's Velcro for the bad, Teflon for the good. And so we want to work with that brain. Your brain is a product of evolution nowadays. So the idea is to actually take in the good. That is to preferentially have those experiences and stick with them longer. And so you're choosing something from your golf game that you want to change. But we need to actually hold those feelings in your consciousness for a longer period of time in order to balance the field. The negativity bias is very strong. You want to have those experiences and hold those experiences longer on the positive side in order to change your brain and neural structure. This is a negativity bias, so we're primed to remember and suck and absorb those negative experiences, and the positive don't want to get there. By taking in the good, by actually holding the experience, we are able to change the brain structure and balance things out. So first of all, I want you to remember that time in the golf game or in your life when you were having that trait or that state or feeling or inclination or whatever. So just remember what was happening within your life at that exact moment. And you can even close your eyes now if you want to as you're going through this. So you're seeing yourself in that kind of state of mind. What was happening? What were you doing? What did you see? How did your body feel when you were having this experience? What were the sounds? How were you acting? So So really stick with that feeling, stick with the idea, stay with it. And as you increase it in intensity, duration, and multimodality, it actually sticks into your brain more and more. And then think that as your experience this right now is actually modifying the brain tissue, it's kind of dropping into your heart, dropping into your psyche, making a difference in your character. Okay, and you relax now, you can open up. You can also use this same technique, it's the kind of forefront as optional. Let's say you're scared of the sand and you're really nervous every time you're about to hit a sand shot. You can create these kind of positive states of mind, and then you can quickly dabble into thinking about being in the sand and not going too deep and not allowing that negative experience to overwhelm the positive experience. And with time, you're going to be able to desensitize the negativity towards whatever other experience. So by linking the positive experiences with a little bit of the negative experience and then continuing to practice that over time, you can actually turn that negative experience around.